a land of extremes, where power and survival are contested daily. Lions rise as the true kings of nature. Among them, some coalitions leave marks that echo through history. The Matimba Coalition was one such legend. A group of 6 male lions who, united, conquered vast territories, defeated formidable enemies, and left behind a trail of power and respect. They were not just kings. They were warriors, strategists, and survivors in one of the most challenging ecosystems on the planet. Their story begins in 2009, in the interconnected reserves of South Africa, where boundaries are defined not by fences but by strength, courage, and determination. The Matimba Coalition emerged as a symbol of unity and power. But, like all great stories, their journey was marked not only by victories, but also by challenges that tested the limits of their strength and loyalty. Today, we will explore the story of ascension, glory, and decline. We will follow the formation of one of the most powerful groups to ever rule the African savannas, uncover the conflicts they faced, and the sacrifices they made. This is the story of the Matimba, the kings of the savannah. It all began in 2009 in the Ngala Game Reserve, located in South Africa. This region, rich in biodiversity, is one of the few places where lions can still roam freely across interconnected territories. It was here that 5 young male lions, all brothers, joined forces with an unexpected 6th member, an older nomadic lion named NM Duna. NM Duna had survived difficult battles, carrying the scars of his experience. He knew how to lead and how to transform a group of inexperienced youngsters into an organized and lethal force. It didn't take long for him to be accepted as the coalition's natural leader. His knowledge of hunting strategies, territorial defense, and combat was exactly what the Matimba brothers needed to become a real threat in the savannah. During their first few months together, the 6 lions began to structure themselves as a cohesive coalition. They patrolled the Ngala Reserve, hunting in groups and engaging in small skirmishes with rival coalitions. However, NM Duna was cautious. He avoided direct confrontations that could put the group at risk before they were ready. These encounters served as valuable lessons for the younger lions, who quickly learned to work as a team and identify their opponents' weaknesses. Biologists monitoring the region observed something unique about the Matimba Coalition: clear leadership and meticulously organized strategies. While many coalitions experience internal disputes for power, the Matimba followed NM Duna's guidance without question. This harmony was rare and would become one of the decisive factors in their success in the years to come. Hello guys, if you like our stories and haven't subscribed yet, support our work and subscribe to the channel to help us. As time passed, the lions began to expand their territories within Ngala. They hunted buffalo, zebras, and other large herbivores, growing physically stronger and more confident. This period of training and growth was crucial for their transformation from a young and promising group into a powerful and feared coalition. By the end of 2009, the Matimba had already established themselves as a notable presence in the region. Their hunting and fighting skills were evident, and their cohesion as a group attracted attention even from rival coalitions. But NM Duna knew that to ensure the group's survival, they needed to seek larger, richer territories. He began preparing the young lions for the next phase, conquering new lands beyond Ngala. In 2010, the 6 lions left the Ngala Game Reserve in search of new opportunities. They knew they would need to face established coalitions, defeat powerful rivals, and earn the respect of the lionesses. But with NM Duna's leadership and the intense training they had received, they were ready for the challenge. This was the origin of the Matimba, a group that began as inexperienced youngsters but, under the guidance of an experienced mentor, transformed into a united and determined coalition. Their path to power was just beginning, and the savannah would soon come to know the strength and determination of these 6 lions. After months of preparation under NM Duna's leadership, the Matimba were finally ready to face bigger challenges. In 2010, the group left the Ngala Game Reserve and advanced into the Manuality Game Reserve, known for being home to some of the strongest coalitions in the region. This move was a declaration of war. The Matimba were willing to do whatever it took to expand their territory and secure dominance. In Manuality, the Matimba encountered a rival coalition that dominated the area. These lions were experienced and supported by groups of lionesses, posing a significant threat. However, the Matimba were prepared. Under NM Duna's strategic leadership, they waited for the right moment to strike. The battle was intense and violent. Roars echoed across the savanna as the two groups of lions clashed. The Matimba utilized everything they had learned in previous years. They worked together, isolated the rival males, and focused on taking down the opposing leader. After hours of fighting, the Matimba emerged victorious, defeating the dominant coalition and claiming the territory as their own. This victory was a milestone in the coalition's history. They not only conquered the Manulidi Reserve but also secured access to a vast territory rich in prey and lionesses. Initially, the lionesses resisted their new leaders, but the Matimba quickly asserted their authority. Over time, the lionesses accepted the 6 lions as their new protectors and kings. With their territory secured, the Matimba entered a period of peace and stability. They constantly patrolled their borders, protecting their land from invaders and ensuring the safety of their lionesses and cubs. This period marked the coalition's peak, a time when their strength was unquestionable, and their influence spread across the Manulidi Reserve. Biologists and park rangers monitoring the Matimba reported that the group exhibited impressive balance. Each lion played an important role, and NM Duna's leadership remained the coalition's cornerstone. He kept the group united and led with a combination of strength and wisdom, ensuring that the Matimba remained one of the most feared coalitions in the region. Over the next 2 years, the Matimba expanded their territories even further, advancing into adjacent areas and consolidating their power. Their reputation grew, and they became a symbol of strength and unity in the savanna. Rival coalitions avoided direct confrontations with them, fearing their organization and combat strategy. However, while the group prospered, NM Duna knew that maintaining dominance in the savanna required constant vigilance. The territories they had conquered were coveted by other coalitions, and the balance of power could shift at any moment. He continued to lead with determination, preparing the group for potential challenges that might arise. This period of abundance was the culmination of the Matimba's hard work and cohesion. They were more than just a coalition of lions. They were an unstoppable force representing the power of unity and strategic leadership. But, as with all stories of ascension, challenges were not far off. The savanna was full of threats, and the Matimba's reign was about to be shaken by events that would forever alter their trajectory. In 2012, the Matimba were at the height of their power. They had consolidated territories, claimed prides of lionesses, and established themselves as one of the most feared and respected coalitions in the savanna. However, that same year, fate delivered a devastating blow. The disappearance of NM Duna, the leader who had guided the group since its formation. It happened suddenly. NM Duna simply vanished without a trace. The biologists and rangers in the Manulidi Reserve, who followed the Matimba's journey, were puzzled. There were no signs of a confrontation with another coalition, no scars or evidence of a battle. This led to speculation that NM Duna might have fallen victim to human poachers, a common and unfortunate reality in the region. For the 5 remaining lions, the absence of their leader was devastating. For days, they roared incessantly across the savanna, searching for NM Duna. This desperate search was unusual for lions, who typically rest during the day and are active at night. Yet the Matimba ignored their routines, tirelessly patrolling in an attempt to find the leader who had been their mentor and guide. But NM Duna never returned. The Matimba were forced to accept that he was gone forever. Without the leader who had kept the group united, tensions began to rise within the coalition. Internal disputes over leadership and territory became frequent, and the balance that once defined the Matimba started to unravel. These internal conflicts weakened the group, reducing their ability to face external threats. The absence of a clear leader made strategic decision-making difficult, and the cohesion that had once been their greatest strength was quickly deteriorating. By 2013, tensions had reached a critical point. Without NM Duna to mediate conflicts, the Matimba decided to split. 2 lions moved south, while the other 3 headed north. This separation marked the end of the unified Matimba era and the beginning of 2 distinct trajectories, the Matimba of the north and the Matimba of the south. The three lions who went north, Chaka, Ginger, and Slipknots, immediately faced significant challenges. Without the full support of the original coalition, they needed to establish a new territory in a region already occupied by other coalitions. They adopted a strategy of avoiding direct confrontations, constantly moving to evade potentially fatal conflicts. This approach allowed them to survive for a while, but it also prevented them from consolidating power or claiming prides of lionesses. The lack of a fixed territory and the constant need for relocation took a toll on the Matimba of the North. Without the stability of a home and the opportunity to reproduce, their influence in the savanna gradually waned. They became nomadic lions, always on the move, always searching for safety. Meanwhile, the two brothers who moved south faced their own challenges. Determined to restore the Matimba's glory, they sought new territory where they could assert their dominance. However, the southern region was highly competitive, inhabited by powerful coalitions and established prides. The Matimba of the south displayed courage and determination. They faced smaller coalitions and managed to establish a small territory. However, their journey was about to intersect with that of the Majinjalane coalition, known for their relentless strength and absolute dominance over vast areas of the savanna. The separation of the Matimba had profound consequences for each group. The unity that once gave them strength was now replaced by vulnerability. Without the complete coalition, they were more susceptible to rival attacks and had less power to conquer and hold territories. The division also took an emotional toll on the lions. Lions are social animals, and being separated from their brothers can lead to stress and behavioral changes, ranging from increased aggression to more cautious tendencies. The Matimba of the North became more reclusive, while the Matimba of the South maintained a more confrontational stance. This turning point in their story highlights the critical role of unity and leadership in the survival of lion coalitions. For the Matimba, the loss of NM Duna was not just a personal tragedy, but an event that reshaped their fate forever. From this point, the stories of the Matimba of the North and South take distinct paths. The northern group faced the challenge of survival without a fixed territory, while the southern group sought to rebuild and would face one of their greatest tests against the Majinjalane. The separation of the Matimba serves as a powerful reminder of the strength that unity brings in the wild. Without the full support of the coalition, each group encountered difficulties that perhaps could have been overcome had they stayed together. The savanna is an unforgiving environment, and survival depends not only on individual strength, but also on the ability to work as a team and maintain strong social bonds. This part of the story highlights the profound impact that the loss of a leader can have on a complex social group. It also sets the stage for future events, where each Matimba group would face its destiny, shaped by the choices made after the separation. After the coalition split in 2013, the three lions who headed north, Chaka, Ginger, and Slipknots, faced a new reality. Without the full support of the original coalition and without a consolidated territory, they adopted a survival strategy based on avoiding confrontations and constantly migrating. The Matimba of the North roamed territories adjacent to the Manulidi and Kruger reserves. Whenever they detected the presence of dominant coalitions, they avoided direct confrontations, moving to less contested areas. This strategy kept them alive for some time but also distanced them from opportunities to claim prides of lionesses or establish a stable territory. This nomadic lifestyle was exhausting. Without a fixed base, the Matimba of the North had to hunt constantly to survive, enduring long journeys and periods of scarcity. They lacked the security provided by a consolidated territory, and the absence of lionesses in their company limited their opportunities to reproduce. Over time, this instability began to take its toll. In 2015, the coalition suffered its first major loss. During a patrol in search of food, one of the lions, Slipknots, was ambushed by a dominant male who had entered the territory they were temporarily occupying. Without immediate support from his brothers, Slipknots was defeated in a violent battle. His loss was a severe blow to the Matimba of the North, who were now reduced to just 2 members. Chaka and Ginger continued together, but the reduction in their numbers made them even more vulnerable. Their nomadic lifestyle became increasingly difficult, as they had less support during hunts and battles. Every potential confrontation represented a high risk, and the two began moving even more frequently, avoiding contested areas and focusing solely on survival. In 2017, another tragedy struck the Matimba of the North. Ginger, the second brother, was killed by a rival coalition while defending a carcass in a contested territory. The fight was unequal, and Ginger could not escape. His death left Chaka as the last surviving member of the Matimba of the North. Chaka, now alone, was last seen at the end of 2017. His appearance was frail, showing clear signs of aging and malnutrition. Without the support of his brothers or a coalition, he wandered alone through the most remote areas of the reserves. Despite his determination to continue fighting for survival, his fate seemed inevitable. Reports from biologists indicated that the last sighting of Chaka was in 2017, accompanied by a group of younger lions who appeared to be merely tolerating his presence. His weakened condition suggested he would not survive much longer, effectively marking the end of the Matimba of the North. The story of the Matimba of the North is a lesson in the importance of cohesion in lion coalitions. Without the strength of the complete group, they faced insurmountable challenges. Their strategy of avoiding confrontations bought them extra time to survive, but it was not enough to establish a lasting legacy. The end of the Matimba of the North was marked by loneliness and gradual decline, a stark contrast to the power and glory that once defined the original coalition. While the Matimba of the North faced their slow decline, the two lions who moved south took a completely different approach. Determined to restore the coalition's glory, they adopted a more aggressive stance. Together, they began searching for promising territories and prides of lionesses, constantly facing threats in a highly competitive region. The Matimba of the South quickly stood out for their bravery and determination. In 2014, they managed to establish a small territory near the Sabi Sands Reserve, where they encountered resistance from smaller coalitions. Despite these challenges, they fought fiercely, securing their space and attracting a few lionesses to their domain. This marked a brief period of stability, but the savanna always holds surprises for the bold. The ultimate test came when the Matimba of the South entered the territory of the Majinjalane coalition. This coalition was composed of lions known for their brutality and absolute dominance over vast areas of the savanna. With years of reign and numerous battle victories, the Majinjalane were feared by all coalitions. The two Matimba, despite their determination, were at a disadvantage from the start. They had recently fought a smaller coalition and were carrying injuries that left them weakened. When they encountered two members of the Majinjalane patrolling their territory, they did not retreat. Instead, they confronted their rivals head-on, confident in their experience and combat skills. The battle was fierce, with roars echoing across the savanna. The Matimba fought valiantly, but the arrival of two more Majinjalane members completely changed the tide of the fight. Now, the two brothers were surrounded by four experienced and fully capable adversaries. Defeat seemed inevitable. During the fight, one of the Matimba devised a desperate strategy to escape. He began running in circles, trying to confuse his pursuers, and gradually distanced himself from the battlefield. His brother, however, was not as fortunate. Surrounded by the four Majinjalane, he was brutally killed. The survivor took days to recover from his injuries and find a safe place. Despite the loss of his brother, he did not give up. Determined to continue the Matimba legacy, he found refuge in a more remote area of the Londolozi Reserve, where he slowly began to rebuild his life. In Londolozi, the surviving Matimba demonstrated incredible resilience. There, he found an opportunity to establish a new territory. Despite his advanced age, he managed to dominate a small pride of lionesses and even sire cubs, ensuring that the genetic legacy of the Matimba continued. This surprising recovery marked a period of relative stability for the Matimba of the South. Despite all the adversities he faced, he stood firm, reaffirming the fighting spirit and survival instinct that had always defined the Matimba coalition. His story is proof that, even in the darkest moments, it is possible to start over and find a new path. However, like all kings of the savanna, his journey had its limits. In 2018, the last Matimba of the South succumbed to the effects of old age and a severe sarcoptic mange infestation. His death marked the definitive end of the Matimba lineage in the African savanna. Despite this, the legacy of the Matimba of the South is one of strength, determination, and resilience. They faced immense adversities, including the loss of their brothers and battles against formidable adversaries, but they never stopped fighting. Their story serves as a powerful reminder that the savanna is not only a place of relentless challenges, but also a stage for extraordinary displays of courage and survival. With this, the journey of the Matimba of the South came to an end, but their impact remains alive, in the memory of those who followed their journey and in the future generations of lions who inherited their genes and territories. And we have reached the end of another story. If you liked it, leave in the comments what else you want to see here, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to support us.